Hello everybody and welcome to the Libra 2025 horoscope, which is really exciting. So you can watch this for your sun, moon or rising, but I would say that if you're a Libra rising, it's going to be a lot more accurate, and we should always really be watching for our rising signs if we know it. But if you want to watch for your sun sign or moon as a context to your chart, then you can do as well. So I'm going to talk about the key themes for this year and then also break it down month by month. So some of the key themes for your Libra this year are focusing on transformations in your committed relationships, a good focus on your career and co-workers, and also a wellness routine. I really see this year you getting like really kind of like the hot body, like very hot, and then working on investments and your physical relationships, like your intimacy and your ability to trust others. I do also want to note that there is a lot of seventh house activity in your year, but it's not necessarily activity that would stand out to me as being like, wow, falling in love. It's more so a constriction and a boundary around committed relationships. There are some elements that are very nice when it comes to committed relationships in the seventh house, but they're not necessarily like standing out to me as you are really in love. I just want to put that disclaimer because there are a lot of other zodiac signs that have that seventh house activity that looks more promising. So I don't want you to finish this video and think, but she talked a lot about the seventh house, so why am I not like in any of the videos on like TikTok or whatever platforms I have? It's because of that. That's the reason why. But as I say, we are co-creators in the universe, and you can change that. You can use those benefits of Saturn giving you boundaries, for example, to create and to sustain your relationships. So I just want to put that out there. So let's go into January 2025. So we start with Mars retrograde in Leo in the 11th house for you, Libra. And this started on the 6th of December 2024. So if you're watching this now in December, which I assume you are, you're going to be in the thick of this really. And it finishes on the 6th of January 2025 until it moves on to something else. So Mars is the planet of war and aggression and sex drive, and is really the warrior. Leo is very masculine and sunny and quite powerful and optimistic. So put these two together with war and the sun together, you have really big energy. So this will create a very David Goggins, I will not quit mentality, I'm a warrior, which can be used for good, but will also cause a lot of anger and frustration too. I would say that this is one of those kind of moments or events really that does cause a lot of what I'd call unnamed frustration. You know, you're frustrated but you don't really know why, and even though it's in a particular house for you, you still don't really know what it is, or you can't put your finger on why you feel stressed and annoyed. So it is kind of a challenging time, but you can channel it into passion. So in the house number 11, this is the house of friendships and social networking. So you could have frustrations around these themes, and you need to channel the passion of Leo and Mars into something really positive when it comes to friendships as well. So you could have an argument that reaches a boiling point, and then you know how to fix something after that. But if you want a change in your friends, for example, then use that passion for direction. But also be careful about the way you're communicating with your friendships as well, because that Mars element could make you say things a bit snappy and you bite back a little bit. Then you have Venus in Pisces in your 6th house. So on the 2nd of January, Venus will leave Aquarius and enter Pisces, which is a much more dreamy and delusional and compassionate love sign. So you could find more harmony here in the 6th house with your co-workers or your wellness routine. And generally Venus in Pisces is a really nice energy. It's very sort of like lovey-dovey. So it's good energy. Mars retrograde then enters Cancer on the 10th house from the 6th of January to the 23rd of February. I just realised I said Cancer in such an accent from the place I live right now, and it really made me cringe. Ooh, Cancer. No, my accent's changing. My accent's all over the place, guys. If you hear my accent, it's sometimes a bit Aussie, it's sometimes a bit American, it's sometimes a bit Dutch. It's everywhere. So forgive me for that. So yeah, Mars will be in Cancer, which is not its best place to be. Mars is highly aggressive and Cancer is highly sensitive. So together this is like screaming and crying at the same time, having tears and then 2 seconds later being like, I'm going to kill you. It's like, whoa, very sort of like on the edge. So in the 10th house here, this will highlight frustrations with career and may cause you to act out, and you need to kind of exercise some impulse control. So then we have something really exciting happening, which is the nodes are changing from Aries and Libra to Pisces and Virgo. So you've had a south node in your sign Libra for about the past year and a half, and now it's moving to Virgo in the south node and Pisces in the north node. So this means that you restore harmony and balance to your mental health, but also your co-workers and how you view your health as well. So your purpose may become a little bit clearer now, which is good. But the North Node, which has been in Aries, has kind of set you up for the life of waiting for you. So now in Pisces, you have much more opportunity to experience a greater purpose with your physical health, which is why I mentioned at the start of the video, I really see this year you getting like super, super hot. Not to say you aren't already hot. I don't know what you guys look like. I'm sure you're very hot. But, you know, really not necessarily looking after like an aesthetic physical health, but your general physical health, you know, how your gut feels, how you feel strength and energy in the day. Like when you get up in the morning, do you feel good in your physical health? You know, some of you may have had injuries as well, especially if you've had Scorpio placements as well. So there are elements to that where it's not just an aesthetic thing, it's actually like how I feel in my physical body. So you'll have more of a purpose with that as well. And also maybe even acquiring co-workers as well. If any of you have like a business of your own, you could be acquiring people to work with you, business partners and the like. And then Uranus will be direct in Taurus on the 30th of January in your 8th house. And Uranus tends to bring a bit of shake-up, a bit of sort of the unexpected energy, especially when it's direct, with finance and trusting others in that 8th house as well. So if you experienced any issues from May to September last year, 2024, then these may repeat now, or the lessons that you learned during that will come back now. February 2025, Venus will be entering Aries in the 7th house for you on the 2nd of February. So Venus is that planet of love and harmony and beauty and aesthetic, and Aries is very sort of aggressive. So it's kind of debilitated with this. Venus is debilitated in Aries basically, but the 7th house is committed relationships. So Venus works very well with that because, you know, Venus and 7th house are together basically. So this brings excitement and passion to your opportunities with love, especially with that Aries. Fun energy, good for, you know, working on getting noticed, for example, but it's also good for really getting a committed relationship. So this is why I mentioned there is really good energy with relationships here, but there are a lot of things going on in Aries throughout the year that can be a bit more challenging, which is why I've said it's a little bit or they could go either way with relationships for you, Libra. So this is a good energy. This is going a good way and getting nice harmony there. Then Jupiter will be direct in Gemini in your 9th house on the 2nd of February, which is expansive opportunities can pick up again, and this is active. So you can have luck in your study or travel opportunities. It's great energy for starting something new with luck, reinventing your routines, or traveling somewhere new, especially with that Jupiter influence. You could definitely meet somebody who's a foreigner, and then you like have new foreign contacts, new places to stay and go. And, you know, Jupiter with the 9th house is together. And obviously in its sister sign Gemini as well from Sagittarius, it is really good energy for that Jupiter lucky influence. I also want to mention as well, because Jupiter not only expands opportunities, but it also expands what's near it. So have a look in your chart, what's next to the 9th house or next to Jupiter. What is it expanding? Because example, if you've got, say, oh, I got Jupiter, 9th house, this is fantastic, but the next thing you've got next to it is like Mars and Leo or something. It's got to expand the anger of Mars and Leo. So just check your individual chart for that as well, because I think some astrologers don't always include this, and I don't think this is necessarily because they don't want to include it. I think it's just because it's a kind of confusing thing to explain, and sometimes we want to keep it as simple as possible, which some people don't like. I just said some people don't like us keeping it as simple as possible, but I do want to mention that it does expand the bad things as well. So we then have Mars directing Cancer in your 10th house of career. So Mars will go completely direct in your 10th house of career. So you'll be evaluating your frustrations with this, maybe even revealing some trauma with the career as well, because again, Mars and Cancer do not go well together. And Mars is very aggressive, and then Cancer's sensitive. So again, it could be you get quite emotional over things to do with work. Then we have March 2025, Venus will be retrograding in Aries in that 7th house on the 1st of March. So this, when Venus retrogrades, it brings out existing issues in your relationships, and you can get annoyed by other people really easily. And because this is Aries, the anger is heightened as well. And with the 7th house of committed relationships, Focus on forgiving yourself and how you trust others, what you really want in a relationship, quite literally with commitment. You know, do you want a commitment from somebody? Do you desire marriage? Do you desire, you know, a house and a home where you have stability? Just think about anyone you have relations with or anybody that you want to have relations with. Like I said, because Venus is debilitated in Aries, you might have to be a bit more flexible emotionally. And then Mercury is also entering Aries on the 3rd of March as well, so we need a bit of ice water when it comes to this. But think on your relationships. Retrograde's a time for evaluating and, you know, sitting in a dark room for 30 minutes and, you know, lamenting. But yeah, think about what you want from your commitments. Then we have a Virgo lunar eclipse in your 12th house on the 14th of March. Very strong, disciplined energy from the Virgo here. This can be time to finish some projects. Good time to release any stagnant energy around your mental health in that 12th house. Any attachments and feelings of laziness as well. Then we have more retrogrades. We have a lot of retrogrades in 2025, and some of them are quite prolonged. I think the longest one is like 4 months or something like that. It's really quite long. So we have a Mercury retrograde, which is probably the retrograde most people know about, in Aries 7th house on 15th of March. So Mercury retrograde brings communication issues, technology problems, delays. There seems to always be an issue with Microsoft going down for a day or two with Mercury retrograde for some reason. That company always gets hit. And people always come back from the past as well. So with Venus also retrograde in Aries, this can be quite a challenging period, a lot of angst and aggression in that 7th house as well specifically. So this is what I was saying about there being some particular sort of rough periods with the 7th house as well, not just nice periods too. So focus on the Zen calmness and thinking about exactly what you really want, you know, be very clear on your goals and don't sway from it. And also with that communication issue as well, like communicating appropriately with a committed relationship. Could also be a business partner, because commitment is also linked to business partners too, and contracts. So just be a little bit careful about what you're saying. Then we have a Venus retrograde in Pisces in the 6th house on the 27th of March. So old energy with relationships and friendships and exes could really come back with full force here with the Venus retrograde. But focus on the love that you really want and use that beautiful delusion of Pisces to manifest attention as well. And again, you could have some evaluation over how you feel and how you're treated by co-workers. Then the Mercury retrograde enters Pisces in the 6th house on the 29th of March. So alongside Venus in Pisces, we have this highly spiritual, karmic and intuitive communication around love. So this is really bringing lessons to you for you to be open for, especially when it comes to any potential injuries around physical health, and also the way that you are speaking to people in a perhaps disconnected way. It gives the energy of you're not reading the room very well here. So again, careful on communication here, especially with the Pisces, because it is a bit delusional. So it might not see reality the way it's meant to. Then we have Neptune entering Aries in the 7th house on the 30th of March. Neptune in Aries is scary for me, because then Saturn will enter Aries, and again, it gives the energy of war to me. Not like world war, but like just heightened energy of war with the current geopolitical climate. So it's a bit odd, because Neptune is like the spread of something as well, and it's about clarity as well. So it's a bit like, oh. Neptune is the planet of clarity and spirituality, and Aries is active with spirituality. So this may cause a sort of punching the mirror kind of energy, trying to really get that clarity and really understand what is going on. So yeah, these two together are a bit odd. In that 7th house of committed relationships too. Again, this is what I'm saying. There is some potential clarity here, but potential confusion at the same time. Maybe I'm not explaining that well, but then we have an Aries solar eclipse on the 29th of March, and the 7th in the 7th house of committed relationships. Oh, I can't get my words out today. This is early, guys. I'm doing this so early. I'm just like, ugh. So the Aries solar eclipse will trigger energy, and that you need to take action with issues arising now, passions and challenges. This is not necessarily a letting go kind of time. Solar eclipses are more like new events, really, with the new moon. But you might want to reframe something rather than letting it go because of the retrogrades. So in the 7th house, you might not necessarily want to start a new relationship or let go of a relationship, but you might be reframing a current one that you already have. So yeah, you could be feeling very linked to reframing a facet of your relationship as well. Could be the communication, could be with that Aries energy, the effort that you put into this relationship, or the effort that you put into your situationships as well. and what they get back as well. You could be feeling very much like, I'm not getting the energy I want with this, and so you're reframing it. Then April 2025, Mercury will be direct in Pisces in the 6th house on the 7th of April. So this is good energy because communication is easier now and you can communicate your feelings and thoughts with ease. In that 6th house, you could have better kind of connections and communication with your co-workers. And you could also find that you are doing better with your physical health. Things are either, you know, moving forward and you're not feeling as pained with something, or in a gym routine, you're doing much better and getting the gains. So generally this is a good energy. Then Venus, also I just want to mention that Mercury in Pisces is like debilitated. So again, the communication might not be as great as if it were direct in Gemini, for example. So Venus is direct in Pisces, 6th house, 12th of April. So you may experience better manifestations with your love here. Feel more open to dreaming and hoping around love. Again, really good relations with co-workers. You could be feeling very like aesthetic in your body. And you could also just feel less burdened by having to keep up your appearances and kind of wanting to spread your wings a little bit. You might feel just a bit lighter with this transit. Then we have the return. Mars will be back in Leo in the 11th house of friendships on the 18th of April. So think back to any issues you had November, December 2024. And what were they? How did you deal with them? Or how are you currently dealing with them? You can tie up these loose ends and feel more energy with your relationships and your friendships. But be careful about the frustration and heightened emotions that come with this, with the Mars and Leo energy. Then Venus is back in Aries in the 7th house on the 30th of April. So you can kind of bring any unfinished business back from March and deal with it head on. You can be a little bit more enthusiastic with love and energetic, but you could also be more impulsive. So this is one to balance. May 2025, Pluto will be retrograding in Aquarius in your 5th house on the 4th of May. So you may have already experienced some intense transformations since November 2024 when Pluto entered Aquarius in your 5th house of dating, creativity, expression, and actually children. But now these slow down and you think more on these internally. So you could be thinking about children. You could be thinking more about your creative expressions, like the things you want to do that bring you joy and make you feel like getting out of bed. Again, you're not necessarily doing anything tangible about these and seeing anything external happening. This is more of an internal reflection. Then Saturn enters Aries in the 7th house on the 24th of May. This is quite major for the world. Generally, Saturn is the planet of restriction and boundaries and lessons, quite harsh lessons I might add. And Aries is war. So that's what it is, war. It's just it could be a bit of taunting energy for world leaders. I see this as a little bit of a testy thing with the geopolitical climate right now. But for you specifically, Libra, Saturn in your 7th house can show boundaries and growth with who has access to you. And also who you are giving energy to with commitments. You're kind of saying like, I'm not going to commit to this specific thing anymore because it doesn't bring me joy. I don't want to do this. You're setting boundaries. You're saying, this is my boundary. I'm not going to, fall on the grenade for somebody that is not giving me the same commitment back. And Aries is quite forward moving and Saturn is the rope around you. So you may desire a little bit more freedom right now, but feel a little bit like, this is active. You know, when Saturn with Aries is active, you're doing something tangible about this. You are physically setting boundaries with somebody and the events are taking place. June 2025, much nicer month. Jupiter enters Cancer in the 10th house on the 9th of June. Beautiful energy because Jupiter and Cancer go together so nicely. Mercury enters Cancer the day before, so great communication and quite expansive for career. And with Jupiter influence, you could meet new foreign contacts that help you with your career. Jupiter is kind of new in Cancer for the next year. And the 10th house is also sort of public life as well. So it's linked to the kind of way that you go out into the world and the way people see you as well. So this is good energy for the way people are seeing you. Then Mars enters Virgo on the 12th house on the 17th of June, which is fabulous energy for productivity, especially with that Virgo energy. Great time to use any frustrations into being productive with your mental health. But again, be careful of frustrations here. Virgo is very perfectionist and meticulous as well, so you could be kind of analysing problems in your mental health to a T. So just be careful about setting yourself back a little bit and thinking, I need to see this holistically as a whole thing, not as, well, you said this and that's why you do this, and oh, you always do this, why you like this, and then it becomes the whole thing. July 2025, Neptune will be retrograding in Aries in the 7th house on the 4th of July. Neptune retrograde brings that really foggy energy, like the mist on the mirror. You can't see things clearly. And in Aries, that's like fighting against the wind. You're punching the mirror because you cannot see things clearly. You can't see it in the mirror, so you're punching it. So try to stay tapped into your intuition here. In the 7th house of committed relationships, focus on the path you're on with your relationships. You may have a thing where you're thinking, am I doing the right thing here? I'm not sure, I can see a future here. Or maybe you're getting increasingly annoyed about a relationship that you're not in, for example. So just be careful about, meditating, being tapped into your intuition, and not worrying too much about having to know the future outcome. Then Uranus will enter Gemini in the 9th house on the 7th of July. Uranus is settled in Gemini because it's the communication house. It's like the higher octave of Mercury. So this will bring out of the box ideas, very innovative with your studies, or particularly that 9th house with your traveling. So you could think more like, you could do more unexpected things with traveling, go to places you wouldn't normally go, think of a plan that you wouldn't normally do. Like, I'm just going to like camp in this forest for a whole night, and I would never normally do that. Like a bit more of a sort of opening your mind to new ways of thinking with traveling and study. And then also the stories that you're painting around yourself and other people too. So there's a narrative taking place there. Then we have retrogrades again. So there's Saturn retrograde in Aries in the 7th house on the 13th of July. This restricts our options even more and can kind of make you feel very trapped in a toxic relationship, or make you feel like you are not sure about commitment here. Again, you're evaluating your boundaries, so you're not necessarily doing anything about it. So we can use the Aries energy to tap into the creativity of our relationships and remind ourselves why we have our relationships, and that there are always several options out there, so you don't have to feel so trapped in something you don't want to be in, for example. Then we have a Mercury retrograde in Leo in the 11th house on the 18th of July, which is a great time for second chances with someone you've fallen out of contact with. Exes can come back during this time. Specifically, friendships can come back during this time with that 11th house. But because of the Mercury retrograde and communication issues, be careful with communicating with your friendships, because that Leo energy can make it a little bit more snippy than normal. August 2025, Mars will be entering Libra in your first house on the 6th of August. Mars and Libra are complete opposites. You know, the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus kind of thing. It's the whole thing about, you know... So this is about understanding others to the fullest. Great energy and drive for identity and appearance, using the passion of Mars to kind of enhance these. But Mars and Libra together is debilitated, it's not great. So you could find yourself being a little bit more angry than normal. Mercury will then be direct in Leo in the 11th house on the 11th of August. So Mercury direct can help you channel your motivation around your goals. You could feel your communication with friendships is going much better. You know, projects with them are working well. You're able to move forward. And you can use the Mars and Libra energy to manifest more joy in your life with your purpose and your appearance with friendships as well. And also because Venus will be entering Leo in the 11th house on the 25th of August, which will enhance harmony around your friendships. Then September 2025, Saturn will enter Pisces in the 6th house on the 1st of September, and it will stay there for the rest of the year. And any sort of Saturn in Pisces kids watching, you will be able to revisit any lessons you have from the past 2 to 3 years. I'm a Saturn in Pisces kid. I do not want to have this back again, but I also am happy for it not to be in Aries, so it's one of those things. So for you, Libra, focus on the constrictions that affect your wellness routine here. And maybe think about... bit more of a dreamy aesthetic thing, you know, when it comes to like your wellness routine. Like really romanticize your life here. Don't really worry about the restrictions that are coming, particularly injuries or age or whatever. Uranus will then retrograde in Gemini in your 9th house on the 6th of September, so this can slow down any new ideas and innovations around your studies or that travelling. You may have a bit of a shock or a change in your routine that you don't want. Could receive some news that's not necessarily bad news, but just kind of, oh, didn't expect that. Or you could feel in a rut. Eclipses. So you have a Pisces lunar eclipse in the 6th house on the 7th of September. So this is a good time to end and release, and this is quite a profound ending as well for the year. Great time to let go with capitals of issues surrounding physical health. This could feel really cathartic. You could really have issues with your physical health this year, injuries, trying to focus on getting strong, feeling good in your body, and this time you're abandoning a facet of that, you know. Either this is a good thing because you're like, I don't need to take this medication anymore, for example, or you're like, this is not working for me, so I'm going to try something new. Then we have a Virgo solar eclipse in the 12th house on the 21st of September. So this is a good start for mental health. You can start a new project, focus on new plans and goals, and again, try to focus on the joy in your life here, really. October 2025, Pluto will be direct in Aquarius in your 5th house on the 13th of October. So you can now focus on major transformations and lessons with dating, creative projects, and the focus that you put onto children and how you can finally move forward with that. Those transformations that take place in your relationships with your family and children, in your the way that you are approaching creativity, and either I'm headstrong, have to be this, or you're taking your creativity much more sort of in a playful manner, because that 5th house is all about childhood and creativity and playfulness. So it's more about the transformation of maybe either not being so serious or taking your art more seriously. And then Neptune will be entering Pisces in the 6th house on the 22nd of October. So Neptune returns to Pisces, revisiting issues with wellness and working on focus and clarity. Great time for meditation and tapping into your spiritual side, because Neptune and Pisces are basically together in that spiritual energy. Then in November 2025, Uranus enters Taurus in the 8th house on the 7th of November. Innovation and shake-up with investing in intimate relationships. Any changes to your security with how you experience joy, which have been in effect recently, can be worked on. So yeah, there could be some kind of interesting news when it comes to investments, or if you share an account or any finances with somebody, like a partner, for example, then you could have some kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on there, energy. Then we have a Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius in the 3rd house on the 9th of November. You may feel like you can't communicate here, open up to somebody, or maybe you want to run for the hills. Like you kind of just have your like a little bit away. Exes revisiting could make you feel trapped, or you could experience delays with communication, writing. It's kind of not the best house to have Mercury retrograding in, because Mercury and Sagittarius are not well. They just don't work well. I have a Mercury in Sagittarius, which is why I can't ever get a freaking word out. So yeah, it's never really a harsh time because of Sagittarius, but it's also not, for example, when Mercury goes direct in Sagittarius, not really the best place for it to be, It's like, yeah, I can finally communicate. Can you? You know what I mean? It's like, not sure about that. Then we have retrogrades version 400. Jupiter will be retrograding in Cancer in the 10th house on the 11th of November. This Jupiter retrograde will have us evaluating any projects and dreams from this year, specifically around career, the way that you're approaching public life and the way that people in the public are looking at you. But we also able to look at our dreams and what we feel we're destined for. So we're not necessarily doing anything about this, we are evaluating it. Then we have a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio in the 2nd house, 18th of November. This is very passionate with that Scorpio energy. Exes really could come back with full force. You could have issues around finances here in the 2nd house of income and finances. So it could be that there's delays with finances, or maybe you don't get the amount of money that you thought you were going to get, or that you have an issue communicating with somebody about finances and it becomes a little bit of a sticking point. First direct, something's going direct. Saturn direct in Pisces in the 6th house, 27th of November. So this can give us a tiny bit more freedom and some more clarity over co-workers or wellness. You could feel less trapped with any injuries that you've had recently, because you've kind of like set your boundaries, saying like, I ain't gonna walk 2 miles, can't do that. Mercury will be direct in Scorpio 2nd house on the 29th of November, which is the last Mercury retrograde of the year. So this is the direct. We're done with the retrogrades now for Mercury. We can move forward. And for you, Libra, you can make good decisions with finances in the 2nd house. Communication is easier. Things can get back on track here. Last month of the year, December 2025, Mars will be retrograding in Leo in the 11th house on the 6th of December. Mars retrograding in Leo is happening again. This will bring irritation and anger with friendships, so try to focus on communicating your needs in a calm way here with your friendships so you don't get angry. This can also be linked to some family members too. And then we have Neptune direct in Pisces in the 6th house. Again, Neptune, Pisces, alles goed, it's all good. So Neptune will be direct, which will bring clarity, and in that 6th house, your goals with wellness become much clearer to you now, and you can also communicate with co-workers because you kind of see through them a little bit more as well. So, quick run through of Libra there. So overall, Libra, the key themes for the year is that you'll have a focus on transformations in your committed relationships. Some of these can be good, some of these can be bad, depending on how you approach them. Again, you have free will here. Then you have a good focus on your career and your public life. And really, I see overwhelmingly for you, Libra, you're focusing on your wellness routine, maybe because you have an ongoing injury or chronic illness. Maybe you have a focus on trying to lose weight and just doing better with your diet and fitness and wanting to feel good in yourself holistically, but you are really focusing on living that sort of LA girl influencer lifestyle this year. Also might be working on some investments in your finances and some intimate relationships as well, and kind of like working on that too. So Libra, overall, you're not necessarily one of the luckiest signs, but you're also not unlucky either. You're just sort of doing your thing, really, which I think is always a good place to be, because there's not a lot of pressure on, you know, thinking that the year is going to be amazing, but you're also not going into the year thinking it's all doom and gloom, because it's definitely not. There's definitely some really good energy and focus on you as a person, your wellness routine. If you are... you know, if you have someone in your life that has Aries placements as well, or Scorpio placements, you really could be having transformations together as well and focusing on that. So I hope you enjoyed that video, Libra, and you have a lovely 2025, and I hope you join me for the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.